Hello, in this video tutorial I'm going to show you how to glue baste your hexagons for the Skill Builder Block of the Month 7 Hex block. Let's begin. First you're going to need your applique foundation hexagon templates that you can purchase at Purple Daisies LLC, and they come with 60 pre-cut applique foundation templates. If you did not order this kit, you can try and find a leave-in, wash-away, fusible interfacing or applique foundation at a local quilt shop. It basically feels like a dryer sheet, and when washed, it actually just blends in with the fibers of the fabric, and it doesn't affect your quilt at all. So it actually stays in. We will not be taking these templates out when we're done. And that's why we're going to be gluing them in place. They're really great. I use this for applique. You can use it for English paper piecing like we are now, for many different purposes. So first, you're also going to need an Elmer's washable school glue stick. You want to make sure, whether you're using Elmer's or a different brand, that you're using washable school glue. Basically, this is a starch product, and you guys all know that I absolutely love using starch. And so I use a lot of glue, either glue stick or the actual liquid glue you can use. For this project, it's going to be easier if you use a glue stick. And this is safe for your fabric. It washes out. It won't hurt your fabric, stain your fabric. Even I use the disappearing purple, and it will not hurt your fabric. I use it for attaching bindings to quilts, putting zippers in bags. Very difficult blocks where I'm trying to line up points. I'll use it. It's wonderful. It can be used in place of pins. If you don't want to use pins, it's really a great starch product. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your applique foundation on the back side, and you're going to cover it with the glue. Then you're going to flip it over and line it up on your 3" by 3" piece of fabric that we cut out earlier. And you stick that down. Now the important part of using any glue, any washable glue, is heat setting it. If you do not heat set the glue, it will not work and things will fall apart. It will be very bad. So the most important step is to take this over to your iron and turn off the steam setting. So you want a hot, very hot, dry iron, and press it for a couple of seconds to set that glue. The glue will dry and it will be ready to move on to the next step. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You always want to make sure you heat set. So my glue is set now. I'm going to go ahead and trim up my seam allowance. So I'm using an add a quarter ruler. Basically what this is, it's a little patent ruler called add a quarter, and it has this 1/4 inch lip here that will catch against the edge of a template or whatever you're cutting. This is great for English paper piecing, but it's really, really wonderful when we get into foundation paper piecing with the machine. So this is a great tool to have. If you don't have this, you can use a regular ruler and a quilting ruler and use the 1/4 inch as a guide. So I'm just going to place this against the edge of my template, being careful to keep my fingers out of the way. And with my rotary, I'm going to trim up an exact 1/4 inch around all sides of the hexagon. And just go around, and you're going to do this for all 56 hexagons. There are 60 hexagon templates in the kit, but for this block we're only going to be using 56, so there's a few extra. So I have a perfect 1/4 inch around all sides of my applique foundation. Now what I'm going to do is take my purple glue stick again here, and the key to this is we're going to put just a dab of glue on the edge of your seam allowance. Then what you're going to do is you're going to So you see how I have it just on the edge here. If you get it too close to the paper, right here along the edge of the paper, that will make it harder to stitch your pieces together. That glue will dry when you heat set it, and then when you stitch your pieces together, your needle will have a bit of a tougher time going through. So you want to keep the glue on the edge of the fabric seam allowance. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold gently with your finger, you're going to fold the seam allowance over and stick it to the applique foundation. Now, when you're doing this, you'll notice that the sides, what will happen is oftentimes the points, the corners will point out, and then the sides will bend or bow inwards, and so you'll have kind of funny hexagons with pointies on the corners. That can happen when you're doing the glue. That is common when you first start doing this. What happens is you start to make these hexagons, you make a lot of them, and you get into kind of a rhythm. And as you do that, you'll notice that you'll begin to get straighter and straighter sides. The goal is to have a really straight, even seam allowance and even edge around the sides of your hexagon. So next you're going to move on, and I just gently, very gently press down my seam allowance. And sometimes it helps too if you have tweezers, and then you can pull down the corners a bit with the tweezers. And as I said, you will get really fast at this, and you'll get into a rhythm, and it won't take very long at all to baste these. It just takes a little getting used to. So you just go around, and I rotate, I go counterclockwise, and see I've got a little bit of glue on my template there, and I'm running out of glue in my glue stick, which is making it kind of hard. But you want to try and stay away from the edge of the template. Just the edge of the fabric. So I'm going around one side at a time. Just getting the glue on the edge. And I'm sticking the seam allowance down. I've got one more side left. And I'm going to stick this side down. Now, as I said before, the most important step once you get all the sides glued down is to take this hexagon over to your pressing table and press it with a hot, dry iron. For just a couple of seconds. You don't have to press it very long. That glue will dry pretty quickly. So now this is completely basted. It's not going to come apart. You don't have to worry about the edges getting frayed or anything. It's going to be all set to go. You could have these basted for months and months and months sitting in a bag, and nothing's going to happen to them. They're just going to stay just like this. The glue will not ruin your fabric. So go ahead and baste all 56 hexagons the same exact way. You start with a 3-inch square, trim it down 1/4 inch around all sides, and baste it just like this. And then we will move on to stitching our hexagons together by hand.